this is just a nice size hall. It's not enormous, but I think that there's value in having that little other partition area, or not partitioned, just another area. I would not partition it. But I think, seriously, everybody's got to go home tonight and sort of look and think, and then you guys seem to be very open about ideas coming back to you. And we have an idea that you're trying to get something solidified by December 31st, because it has to be approved by the 31st in order to get the ARPA money, correct?
Signed
Right.
contract by the 31st.
So I think everybody should go back. I think this is lovely. I think even if you just did a poured cement patio, you know, you could get away with that without having a building back there to have to worry about somebody messing with. And then you talk about cameras back there too, which I'm sure are not up now. I know we have them at our storage and we have them at other places. It's just nice to be able to look back on who's there and who's doing what. So, but I love that private. Maybe the point is that the bar doesn't have to be that enormous. Maybe it can be a better looking bar, or use part of it and refurbish what's there.
A lot of this building doesn't really have to be heated if you had it partitioned off too, because there's no water lines until you get to the front.
That's where the old accordion door came in, because the accordion door would be closed because there was plumbing in there and plumbing in the whole front half.
Right.
And that's been part of the problem, you know, and frankness, Sam and I, we've talked about it, and because there's so many people that'll come in and they latch that door open, we can't do nothing about it other than we're going to come and try to police the building all the time, and he's got stuff to do, and I have stuff to do, so.
There's three furnaces in this room. There's a furnace that actually takes care of the bar, and then there's a furnace over the kitchen area that takes care of the kitchen, and we call it the senior citizens. They use that front office up there. That used to be the township office before they built the fire department. So there's a lot of different aspects. We've changed a couple of these furnaces since I've been here in the last 5 years. These two here have been changed because, well, couldn't get enough heat in there until they can all look at them, and these two furnaces weren't working at all. So one furnace ain't big enough to run this place.
Can I ask a question on the senior room? I've always been curious. I know things went on there over the years, but is it utilized once a week? Is it utilized 3 times for meals?
3 mornings.
3 mornings for meals
Every week.
and meals, activity. Okay.
Well, they come and play cards, and they're
Right.
here from before 8 o'clock until maybe 1.
Okay. But it's
Meals
only
on Wheels brings them food.
okay. But it can never be delved into, like when you mentioned a meeting spot like that is just the seniors. I don't know if I've ever been in it in my entire life, but I mean, it can only be used for the seniors. It can't be used for other private
They
rentals.
have permanently brought in their stuff.
I just
Going nowhere.
can
One
I
time we had a big wedding here, and they say that wedding took their plates and silverware, the plastic plates, or paper plates and silverware. So I replaced them for them, but
Okay. But thinking outside the box, just that would be another little spot where during a wedding, it could be a go-to room for whatever, or on a rental, it could be a place where you have a little birthday gathering or something without using
like
all
the bar area where that closet is right now, but the closet doesn't even go to the ceiling. So it's really not a secure closet.
no, we'd have to secure it.
So
Voting.
to make that area a little bit larger and just take it out, and then the window that's in the closet is in the bar area, so you can have the benefit of air, and you can make sure that all election stuff, and not just election stuff, but there's a lot of paper. Just ask Sherry, we got a ton of paper. But if she's got a nice secure room to where they can lock stuff, that's a good thing.
But putting those walls up there, Charlie,
Shortens the dance floor.
it's not even dance floor, you're losing windows again.
But if
We're
you
talking
add
about adding
windows
back
there-
there.
And that's east windows. If we were having an 8 a.m. wedding, that'd be beautiful, but it's the sunset wedding that you're more concerned about over there.
Some of you have been in here, and this is set up for everybody to eat. So the dance floor is probably about from the front of this table that way. When all the tables are set up for the 300 people, and their serving tables are usually over there and stuff there.
any
If it's any bigger than that, then the people are eating on the dance floor and you have to take these tables down. I know from my mother and dad's 25th wedding, I know she had to take tables down and they folded up the dance floor.
Yeah. And you could easily take the platform and revert that to that corner over there, and you could have that be the designated, and have this be where the bride and groom's table is, so it can stay up throughout the night. And you'd have a nice wall behind them for pictures.
Windows and
So, you know, and to put some windows over there and clean that up. Because, you know, if you're putting a new heating system in here, I guess that's your cue. I didn't even know you had the microphone.
Yep.
You gotta talk up.
You gotta speak louder.
I grabbed the microphone because I heard you say 300 people. Is that moved occupancy of the building?
It's around 200 chairs, I think.
I'll get the ground.
We don't have a sheet, but nobody else.
I know
should be
there's
on the
300 tables and chairs here for 300 people,
Isn't it on the wall somewhere? I thought all public places had to have the occupancy
I guess I
number.
don't ever look for it.
It's supposed to. We were looking, we didn't see it today.
My only concern there is the cooling capacity.
What capacity?
Cooling capacity. We're obviously going to put pollution in the building.
It makes it hard to cool the building. The more people you have, everybody's 100 degrees. So if you got 300 people at 100 degrees, you've got a lot of, or versus 500 people at 100 degrees. You need almost twice as much heating capacity if you have 500 people. Or cooling. Cooling versus heating, yeah.
I would think though, a good company that sells most air conditioners should be able to tell you how much you need to cool this place.
That's his job, if you're upgrading it. And the thing is it's the an empty room doesn't take much to cool.
Every individual
I'm 71, too far away from you. So I have to speak.
Right. He said each body produces 1,500 BTUs per hour resting. So if you put 100 people in here, that's 150,000 BTUs of heat. And if you put 200 people in here, you got 300,000 BTUs of heat. So when it comes to trying to cool the building, that may be why when you were here, it didn't seem cool enough. Because they just didn't work and there was all those people and you got an extra 300,000 BTUs of heat in the building.
I don't think there's that.
If you had 200 people,
There were a lot of people at the wedding, but I mean, you know,
but the system wasn't working.
Yeah.
yeah, it was cooler outside. and the heat index was probably 102 that day. You know, I mean, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, so, well, I wrote them down, we know what everybody has for thoughts. Yes,
So
Sure.
with all this heat being talked about, we have a hot room over there at the hall, at the township hall where we have meetings. There's a lot of BTUs in a room when we have meetings. Can that room be expanded at all?
Not the way it's designed at this particular moment. If they added on to the fire department, we probably could add on a room for a bigger meeting. Turn that into something different.
Because it gets pretty packed in there sometimes. So that's just a thought. But the office beyond that, what's in the office beyond that? Is there a way to take one?
election material.
Yeah, that's election.
Move back, there you go.
All our voting machines.
But there would be a possibility to take a wall out and make that room. Because we do have one of the smallest meeting rooms on any township in Bay County.
I don't know why you couldn't, with that room already started in there, why can't you just bring that out to this wall and put that be, you know, have that be the tables and chairs and the voting stuff and all that in the heat windows.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things with that the width of the room being what it is, and I actually have the dimensions here
People
somewhere.
don't use the bar as much as they used to years ago.
I think
So I
maybe-
mean, if the wall, if the doorway.
You would actually
You put
have a
some-
hallway to go into the bar, and it would actually look rather,
And some high tables, which I love seeing here on, we use those at my daughter's graduation party. That's just the thing now. I see that being used a lot. High tables just where people can stand around. And I don't think there's much to that room. I think it looks cheesy in that corner. I mean, if you look at, I don't think it's very well built. I think that should just be,
So build
Taken
that
out.
up and.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
but it leaves you with the hallway going back to the bar. And that's one of Fraser Hall. If we want to choose or pick and choose, my biggest peeve with Fraser Hall, they've got a beautiful room here and another room there and an in-between room. And that's exactly what that would become, is an in-between room instead of a bar. Where right now, it's a room where the people that came to the wedding want to stand and talk, they stand and talk.
Maybe you don't call it a bar, but it's a social gathering room, right? I
There
mean,
you
you know,
go.
you start changing the terminology and the appearance and, things
Yeah.
can.
I don't think Sherry's talking about taking that whole space up. If you just can't bring it forward, I don't think you got your hall, or your hallway.
All the way here.
Being very
This
nice
is where
looking.
it is at, right here. So you have,
For a couple people coming in and out with drinks to their tables, I think that would be plenty.
Well, the other option that hasn't really been brought up is we have a janitor's room over here that really doesn't get used. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff in there, the janitor's room.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of stuff, there's a bunch of built-in cabinets, that room doesn't really even get used. That would be a possibility as well, if we're talking about having some kind of rack system for tables and chairs. Potentially, that would be a space where that could be, you know, where those could be located, and just have a key system where when people rent this, their key is going to allow them to get only into those specific rooms, and that we have some rooms that obviously would be keyed differently that they're not allowed.
Right. I just think that room there, I'm being open, that I always thought it was very unattractive there. And you're seeing a lot of weddings recently where there are little cupcakes or there are sweet treats, and all of that has been against that wall right behind you, Lori, on the other side. So that was open with a nice window there to look out and have a little bit of light. I just think it'd be classier.
I've actually had several events that I went to where they have those higher top tables and you have to just stand around, right? You go into the bar and you get a drink and stand and talk to people. I think it does actually improve the social interaction at an event.
only because of what I do and the times I've been here. I have seen that room full when I have been here, and I've seen this room full. But I know people that have left this room to go to that room because they don't want to listen to loud music in this room. And so when you take from, you have to figure the balance of the whole thing.
Well, and remind yourself, LFA Hall was I think, one of our, that everybody loved to rent that hall. But you had the back room, and you had the main room, and then you had the dance floor, and then you had the bar room. There's a reason why that was a hot to trot kind of. You had all your little nooks to get to, and it was really easy to make pretty cool looking, you know. It was very inviting.
Well, and that's where having a patio out there with
Right.
a split rail fence around it, which then you don't have to worry about if somebody goes out there, you know, you have 24 by 24 concrete slab, it doesn't cost that much, with a nice split rail fence around it. And one more thing to make the place look better, so we can try and get people to rent it.
So what about
To make that possible.
taking, the senior room, I see it's 29 and a half by 21.
Yeah.
So if you use that for your table and chair storage, and have the seniors use the bar room for us.
You had to put their stuff away every time, every week,
They
or
wouldn't
every
like
day.
that. They're pretty,
Yeah, they,
you will be a senior one of these days, so.
And I hope my kid puts me in a home, but.
say that now.
Well, and we have to look at who we're servicing, right? We want to service them, but we also want to
Yeah.
best our use.
Because they do pay rent.
Yeah.
That's their space. They rent that. And you know what?
Now you pay the county pays this.
The county pays the rent, so we are reimbursed for the space there, which meant during COVID, we had a little bit of money coming in. Might not have paid all the bills, but we still had some money coming in.
It's also the most updated room we have.
It's on.
Brian Larrabee, 1392 Beaver Road. Anyways, good, let's use it, if we can use it up, use it up. We don't want to give it back, that's for sure. You know, but how far ahead do we know, is this place all booked up next year? I mean, or what? I mean, we could kind of start shooting for, like you said, Sam, springtime maybe, you know? Spring on the inside, and as it warms up, they can start doing the outside, you know? But how far, does anybody know how far ahead do we let them book? You know?
Well, it's spotty. We'd have to pick the month. We might even have to move one or ask them to find some other place.
It'll be done in
All
stages.
we have to do is have it allocated.
Floor one.
And whether they do, let's say we redo the kitchen. Well, maybe the kitchen don't get redone until August next year. It doesn't have to be done right away, it's just we have to have the money allocated.
Allocated a signed contract, they said.
So, it's gonna be, the big project is gonna be the floor, the bathrooms, the kitchen ain't gonna be that big.
Windows, walls.
The windows ain't gonna be that big of a deal.
No,
I had
but
19 windows put in my farmhouse, and they got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they left it in the afternoon.
floor,
Not really, but I can come up with one for you. It all depends on what we pick out.
we give her an option A and an option B. She can give us a closer idea of just what it would cost to floor the building.
In this back area here, we were just chatting here, but if you think of Washington, what do they call it, Washington, they're on downtown Bay City, over by, Beaver has it, Washington Pub. That's what I'm envisioning, you know, when you said a lean-to, we talked about that pad of cement back here, but how neat if you could have your windows, plus then you have that little lean-to that, I think of that, it comes to mind that sort of a longer one with a,
It's called
comes
curb
up.
appeal.
Right, but I think that that's sort of rustic for the community as well that we're a part of, and I don't know, I think it has there's a thought there.
Gotta have outdoor gatherings there and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the pavilion still serves a great purpose, but it would be watch your kids, they can run through the back.
Well, I guess it's just like anything else. If you look at, if you guys wait until December, it's only about 3 months, November, December. Sooner you get a contract signed, everything goes up month by month price-wise. So
It's finding somebody who wants
it sounds like it's something we need to,
I've shown these bathrooms to 3 contractors. There's one right now that I really do think is gonna give us a bid, but the other 2 should come back and
there's so many jobs out there, they can pick and choose what they want.
Well, and when it comes to the bathrooms, the current bathrooms are totally functional, they work, and it would be just as easy to go outside the door by the bar and actually put a 14 by 20 addition, because the new spin ratio is no longer 5 feet for ADA, it's now 6 feet. So you go out there, you got 2 nice 10 by 10 family/handicap bathrooms. You just put bathroom over the door.
And leave these intact, Charlie?
Leave
So you
these
have- yeah, I
intact,
agree.
just like putting new
But they need to
walls,
be updated.
new
Oh,
sinks.
new stalls.
You update them, you paint them, but the moral of the story is, the pipes are working great, and we've got a water line right there at the bar, so you have labor to knock a hole through the concrete to get the water from the bar, and the sewer's right over there anyway. It really is.
That sounds like a good thing. Just make a unisex bathroom, so.
Right. And these bathrooms, even if you do that, then you change it and you don't have 4 stalls, because I recall that being 4, ladies. Is it only 3? I think it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Maybe you do 2, and they're a little nicer. They go to the other walls, and it looks a little different.
The building inspector
There
should
would
tell
be
us.
some dictation by the
How-
health
how it lays
department
out.
for 300 people, how many bathroom stalls you want. I think it is for.
But if you're adding,
Put the 2 out there for family, it changes it.
Yeah.
gonna need permits if you want to do an addition. You don't have that time frame. You have a time frame to redo your electrical, redo your floor, maybe the windows. I don't know about the roof, but I see a couple spots that look wet. Possibly it's already been fixed. I don't think you realize that $500,000 isn't going to go very far.
No, I know it won't, but I know this. You start knocking out walls, trying to make those ADA compliant, you will be required to do that. Labor, you cannot control. Labor will kill you on every project. And if you actually look at, so you've got a 240 square foot addition, and it's going to cost you, say, $150 a square foot to put that together because it's a very plain addition. You're looking at a stool, a sink, a handicap, or a child's with handicap bars, and a child changing table. In each of those bathrooms, you're not looking at, like I'm building a home, and you have to put all this electrical in it.
Charlie, the two most expensive things to build in a house
Bathroom.
is a kitchen and a bathroom.
And that kitchen right there is probably $75,000 to $100,000. If you actually did it like they would require with the fire suppression system and the stainless steel hood, the new lights, replacing the ceiling.
I think all of these are great ideas. What I'm telling you is I don't think you have the time to accomplish what you want. Get it to a contractor and get it done.
Gotta get the plans done ASAP.
Well, I will just make an I Spy at windows. I'm pleased because I don't think that cement wall's on the top, is it? So that's
No.
a perk. So that makes it a lot easier for window installment.
It does.
A ton, because I would say, most people would say, I don't want to mess with the cement wall.
If we stay above the cement wall, these windows, I'll guarantee 2 days they change all these windows. It's a bunch of work.
So I think ultimately what we're getting at is we don't have a lot of time, but there also has not been a vision. So
There's no
you can't
vision.
just start putting Band-Aids on things. You have to have kind of a vision where you want to go. No, this money isn't going to do everything. You know, even the list, that's kind of like an idea generator, a wish list kind of thing. There's no way there'd be enough money to do all that. But there are some infrastructure things that we can do that are larger investments that would make a big difference as we move forward, where a lot of the cosmetic stuff, right, we could do in the normal course of business. But the big things, the HVAC, the electrical upgrade, that type of stuff, we need to do that now with a plan for where we're going to go with it. And if there's no plan, you're not going to go anywhere. So we don't want to lose that, but we do need to take some of the initial steps to get it going in the right direction so it's a value to the community. And even if we do some of this and we lose some of the rentals, the truth of the matter is we're not getting a ton of rentals and we're not making as much money as it seems like we're making on the rentals because it doesn't have presence. You know, and people come in here and rent this for their wedding and they had to drape in fabric everywhere to cover up how ugly it is. And that's a big undertaking. It doesn't have to be that way. It's going to be a lot easier to rent when it looks a little bit better and it functions a little bit better, and we'll end up making that up, I think, relatively quickly for those that are looking for this type of event.
Now, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, as long as you guys do not touch the bathrooms, you do not have to make them ADA compliant, correct?
That's what Bangor did. They didn't touch their bathrooms other than a paint job when they first did, and now they're doing ADA bathrooms where their storage room was.
Sounds like a great opportunity to do ADA bathrooms.
Well, we'd have to see, there's a fairly large electric box out by that. You usually run the lights on the ball diamonds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. You might have to take that bow and arrow place out of there and use that window over the wall and put the bathrooms on that way because of the electric and everything. That isn't very large. I don't remember what the wattage was. It's huge.
Whatever happened with ITC helping us rehab the lights? I know the previous supervisor had something. Does anybody know where that went? You remember that being talked about, was Talk Holland days, and ITC was gonna donate the poles and that.
Mr. Beeson has also said that he's got grant money to help us redo it, but why? I don't have any kids even using the ball diamonds. Right now, we do have a group that wants control of the ball diamonds, and they're gonna clean them up, and on the 28th, they're having a fundraiser of some sort out here.
You got a ball tournament.
So,
It's exciting. You should have seen all the work they were doing over the weekend. Go take a look at those ball diamonds. You'd be impressed. Behind Batter's Mountain, that's all been cleaned up. They're making sure to get rid of the weeds. The three in the road here are really, really good. They moved bleachers in some spots because the weeds were taller than the bleachers were tall.
Well, not to sound cheesy, but the saying, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
I know Sue and her group put a lot of time into this outdoor space here. And I think you would have community involvement, Sam. I mean, it's a shame that Pinkon is used like it is. You can drive by Pinkon on a Friday night, Saturday.
Yeah.
It's packed. It's only 2 fields.
You know what? We had soccer practice out here last week, and I got to talk to those families, and they were excited that their kids could come here and practice their soccer. And I said, we got the money approved, but, you know, I got to get them cleaned up and painted, and I'm not supposed to be by that kind of stuff.
Well, and I just want to say, you know, we had a lot of successful years, but even back then we were fighting with, not fighting, but we have, you know, Northwest right here. So the other SG and Pinkani, they didn't have that battle, where we were right there, the division lines, so some kids went to Northwest that really could have been playing with TVA ball. So we did well during our years, but right now it's got to take somebody to reinvent, like, hey, let's have kickball leagues out here. That can be a family affair. The vintage team, my son, I'm happy he's playing with it right now. They are very warm and welcoming to coming in here, like in May and September. They would probably put that on their schedule without a doubt, Bay City Independence. So I do see it just takes people to say, yep, we want that to be part of our wheel of busyness, right? And that's where I think everybody goes, and we're all on our own missions, and once the township comes back to being a mission for our community members, we can have those things back again. It just takes somebody with some foresight.
Absolutely. It's just, again, it's like communication. It's like nobody knows what's going on here. There's no advertising, there's no communication. I only know it because I come to these meetings now, or I talk to some people. But
Could I suggest that you take care, I mean, you could lead up a newsletter. Back in our days of doing all that we did, we had a newsletter, and could probably be an electronic newsletter, Kelly. And I'm not being facetious, I mean that with all my heart, that you could say, let me take that lead and get the stuff to me, and I bet that the board might say,
well, we have Facebook pages, but nobody's on them because they don't want to step on everybody's toes.
Mike and Sandy actually did our newsletter when I was a full-time clerk. Mike and your mother-in-law
I was going to say your mother.
did that for years. I remember coming over during the day and helping them manually pull.
And they would
all that
mail them
stuff.
out. 4 times a year, if I remember.
Yeah.
We did it 4 times a year.
Yeah. So,
Well, I know Sandy did it, I think it was twice a year. Mike
Oh,
meant one.
no, we went to 2, okay.
so.
And 2 with
anything else? Thank you for coming. Anything else?
I think we made a lot of progress. Thank you all. I'm sure this will end up at the
As soon as you get
meeting.
I get this done, this done, this done.
Okay,
No,
thank
I
you.
mean, with our next meeting, because you can't have one meeting and stop it. You gotta keep working at it.
Okay, all right, I'm still with
You guys got the motion to adjourn? Then you have the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. It was on the edge of the hall /